We are also now hearing from the shooter's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, who was questioned by investigators for hours. She released a statement on Wednesday saying Stephen Paddock, she knew, was kind, caring, and quiet. Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, is here with those new details. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Amy. Law enforcement officials this morning are expressing skepticism about the girlfriend's claim that she knew nothing about what Stephen Paddock was up to. Agents grilled her for hours inside the FBI headquarters in Los Angeles. But Mary Lou Danley insisted again and again she had no idea about the evil her boyfriend had spent months planning. Her lawyer read her statement after the session ended.
He never said anything to me or took any action that I was aware of that I understood in any way to be a warning that something horrible like this was going to happen.
Danley had been Stephen Paddock's live-in girlfriend for at least 3 years, sharing this home in Mesquite, Nevada, where police found more than a dozen high-powered weapons and ammunition he had been stockpiling for more than a year. Yet she says she saw nothing.
You got to make the assumption he had to have some help at some point.
Paddock met Danley when she was a casino hostess. They gambled together, playing video poker in the slots. Investigators want to know if he went along when she traveled to Dubai, where she posted this smiling photo. Danley claims she thought when Paddock sent her to the Philippines 2 weeks before the shooting and wired some $127,000, it was so she could buy a new house.
Honestly, I was worried that first, the unexpected trip home and then the money was a way of breaking up with me. I knew Stephen Paddock as a kind, caring, quiet man. I loved him and hoped for a quiet future together with him.
Danley spent most of the day with the FBI and at the end of it sticking to her story that, as she told her family, her conscience was clean. Amy.
All right, Brian, thank you. And let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, now for more. And Danley's statement saying that she saw no warning signs that anything was going to happen. Police say she's cooperating. They remain skeptical, though. What are they trying to learn from her now?
They want to look at first what she knows about what happened leading up to it, and then they're going to want to know what she's doing since then as well. And here's what I mean. It's not a crime for her to have not reported that he was amassing weapons. The question is, did she know what he was going to use those weapons for? And most importantly, did she aid or abet in any way? Did she even help him buy an illegal weapon? Even that alone could be a problem. But if she knew, even had an inkling of what he was up to, almost anything that she did to help him could be seen as a crime. And then question two is going to be, even if she knew nothing, is she telling the truth about it?
Right. Did she not ask him why so many guns?
That's right. Because if it's true that she is saying, I had no idea, I didn't know anything about the weapons, if that's not true, that in and of itself could be the crime of obstruction of justice. So you're talking about two separate avenues here. The possibility of aiding and abetting before, and then even if she didn't aid and abet, even if she wasn't involved in any way, if she's not telling the truth now about everything she knew, that's a separate possible crime.
So she would be facing some crimes if officials were able to prove this. How difficult would it be to prove those things?
Well, look, this is one of these challenges they've had in other cases, right? The shooter Omar Mateen in the Pulse nightclub case. His wife was charged with similar crimes, both for materially assisting, aiding and abetting, and obstruction of justice. These cases aren't that easy, but look, they're going to be able to trace back almost everything that this guy did, every move he made. And if they don't believe that she's telling the truth here, they could have a strong case.
Now to Las Vegas, where police say that Stephen Paddock, who shot dead 58 people on Sunday, may have been planning to escape instead of killing himself. They've not elaborated on what's led them to that conclusion, but they have suggested he had been living a secret life and had spent years building up his arsenal of weapons. Well, his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, is now being questioned by the FBI, but has said that she had no idea what he was planning. Our correspondent Laura Bicker reports now from Las Vegas.
Police believe Stephen Paddock had help getting hold of his arsenal of weapons. He legally bought some of his 47 guns here at a shop just outside Las Vegas. He owned dozens of semi-automatic weapons, which he modified to turn into machine guns. Officers are also trying to work out how he moved all of his guns unnoticed into a hotel room on the 32nd floor. From here, he waited until the concert ground was full of thousands of people. And then he started firing. Stephen Paddock's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, has been questioned by the FBI. She flew back from her family home in the Philippines after hearing about the shooting. She said the 64-year-old paid for her to go, and she thought he was breaking up with her.
He wired me money, which he said was for me to buy a house for me and my family. I was grateful, but honestly, I was worried that first, the unexpected trip home, and then the money was a way of breaking up with me.
Her sisters in Australia said she knew nothing about Stephen Paddock's plans.
And I know that she don't know anything as well like us. She was sent away. She was sent away so that she will be not there to interfere of what he's planning.
America is once again grieving the victims of another mass shooting.
It's not fair and it's not right. And now I'll forever have to have a bullet in my back for no reason. So I'm just sorry other people have to deal with similar or worse injuries or losses.
Detectives say they still don't know why Stephen Paddock decided to commit mass murder, but they are building a picture of the killer, and they believe he had been planning this attack for some time. Laura Bicker, BBC News, Las Vegas.
Well, let's go to our North America correspondent, Rajini Vaidyanathan, who's also in Las Vegas for us. And Rajini, the police now saying they think that the gunman had been planning this potentially for months.
Yes, that's their theory, but they still do not have a motive, Ben. Now, the FBI says usually in these kind of cases, they're looking for affiliation, motive and intent. But the FBI concedes themselves that they are astonished that investigators have still been unable to uncover more information about the gunman. Now, one of the issues they say is that he had a very low-key private life. Very little can be found about him on social media. He had very few close friends, apart from, of course, from his girlfriend Marilu Danley, who is said to be cooperating with investigators. There are more than 100 investigators working on this case. Now, one area that they are looking at is the fact that the gunman checked in to a hotel, a different hotel, about a week before he carried out the attack at this particular hotel. And he had a room overlooking another music festival, the Life is Beautiful festival in Las Vegas on around the September the 22nd. And his room there overlooked the vantage point of the music festival. So they are wondering whether or not he booked in there to perhaps plan to attack that. They also are looking at a purchase he made in October of last year of more than 30 guns. And they are trying to work out whether he bought those in a response to what they describe as a specific life event. So there are the leads that they are looking at. But I have to say, several days on from the shooting here, they are still no closer to revealing what his motive might have been.
Did the Las Vegas killer act alone?
Well, the shooter's girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, facing a lot of questions. The FBI grilling her for hours. She has insisted she knew nothing.
And take a look at this incredible image capturing the moment Air Force One flew past the Mandalay Bay Hotel after President Trump's visit on Wednesday.
Spent several hours on the ground. He met with the first responders who risked their lives and the wounded still recovering. Our chief national correspondent, Tom Yamas, is in Las Vegas with all the latest. Good morning, Tom.
George, good morning to you. So many major developments overnight. And we spoke with that hero security guard by phone, police calling him incredibly brave. And they believe the killer stopped firing because he saw that security guard approach his door through the cameras he had set up. All of this as investigators now believe an escape plan could have been in the works. Go now! This morning, new video showing people running for their lives and ducking for cover during the Las Vegas massacre. 100 investigators now poring over videos just like this.
Everybody go!
And pursuing new leads.
Stay down, run this way.
Including the possibility shooter Stephen Paddock may have been planning a getaway.
I got multiple guns. One here. Right here. Get in the truck, get in the truck.
And they find it hard to believe Paddock, who killed 58 people with an arsenal of guns, didn't have some type of help.
It's troublesome that this individual was able to move this amount of gear into a hotel room unassisted.
The Las Vegas sheriff says among the 23 weapons and hundreds of rounds of ammunition found in the Mandalay Bay suite turned sniper's nest, at least 3 of the assault rifles were outfitted with hunting scopes. This assault rifle, one of 12, with an attachment called a bump stock. It allows the gun to fire continuously, mimicking an automatic weapon. This video demonstrates how it works. On the tip of the rifle, a flash hider, making its fiery blast difficult to spot. Police still unclear why Paddock went on the killing spree, but say he was disturbed, dangerous, and living a secret life. You mentioned in your comments he had a secret life. What do you mean by that?
Anything that would indicate this individual's trigger point and that would cause him to do such harm, we haven't understood it yet.
And this morning, we're also learning more about that Mandalay Bay security guard who located the exact room where Paddock was firing from. Police say Jesus Campos approached the suite alone after calls from other guests. Paddock shooting through his hotel door, striking him. Overnight, Campos telling ABC News, "I'm fine. I was just doing my job."
His bravery was amazing because he remained with our officers, provided them the key pass to access the door, and actually continued to help them clear rooms until our officer demanded that he go seek medical attention.
And now the possibility Paddock may have been planning to attack earlier. ABC News has confirmed he rented a room at the Ogden, a downtown Vegas condo building, at the same time the outdoor music festival Life is Beautiful was taking place 2 weeks ago.
And look how close this is. The shooter would have been right there in the Ogden building. One of the concert stages was just below it, and this entire area full of people and potential targets.
Police confirming out of the 487 injured, 317 have been discharged, but still so many in the hospital, like Carmen Alegria.
I was just praying and thinking we're gonna die.
Alegria shot in her leg, her best friend shot in the shoulder. They loved outdoor music festivals, but not anymore.
I don't want to be around big groups of people. I don't necessarily want to come back to Vegas.
A feeling likely shared by many who made it out alive, but those survivors and police all have the same question this morning: why? There is still no motive. We now know he did not leave a suicide note behind, but police are chasing down one lead. They know Paddock bought most of his guns, or several guns, last year. They want to know what changed in his life last year, what flipped the switch and sent him on this road to mass murder, George.
And Tom, the other big question, did he have help getting those guns into the hotel?
That's right. Police say they just can't believe that he was able to do all this planning and load up that hotel suite ready for war without someone helping him. And now they want to speak to another woman who they believe was with Paddock.